bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. My name is Todd Goldfinger and here's today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. A storm system that left widespread damage and some injuries in its wake in Texas drifted into Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama on Tuesday, possibly triggering a regional severe weather outbreak. The Storm Prediction Center said the affected areas, including the cities of Baton Rouge and Jackson, Mississippi, could see strong tornadoes, forecasters said. Louisiana's federal and state authorities reminded thousands of hurricane survivors living in government-provided mobile homes and recreational vehicle trailers to have an evacuation plan because the structures might not withstand the expected weather. More than 8,000 households live in such temporary quarters, Bob Howard, spokesman for a Joint Information Center for the Federal Emergency Management Agency and the Louisiana Governor's Office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness, said Monday. In a joint statement, the agencies said floods might cause the most damage, in quotes. Repeated bouts of heavy rainfall can occur over the same areas, increasing the risk for flooding, in quotes, the statement said. In quotes, move to higher ground if you hear of flood warnings. Next news. With some workers across the U.S. threatening a walkout Tuesday, the Walt Disney Company finds itself in a balancing act between the expectations of a diverse workforce and demands from an increasingly polarized and politicized marketplace. On the one side, there are the LGBTQ advocates and Disney employees calling for a walkout in protest of CEO Bob Chapek's slow response in publicly criticizing Florida legislation that critics have dubbed the Don't Say Gay bill. The legislation bars instruction on sexual orientation, on gender identity, in kindergarten through third grade. On the other are politicians like Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who accuses the entertainment conglomerate of bending to cancel culture after a Disney decision to temporarily suspend political contributions in the state. According to Disney's conservative critics, the company should be in the business of making profits instead of pushing an agenda. Evan Power, chairman of the Leon County Republican Party, said he believes a strident minority of Disney employees are pushing the issue. And DeSantis has more to gain by taking the side of the parents who want more control over education and sexual conversations in early grades at school. DeSantis is viewed as a likely Republican presidential candidate in 2024. In quotes, I think it pays dividends with parents across the state of Florida, regardless of political divisions. End quotes. Power said. Next news. For years, Layla Bullock moved to her own rhythm when it came to schoolwork. For the switch to remote learning, if anything, brought a welcome break from fights in the hallways of the 15-year-old's Detroit school, but her grades still lagged. Things started turning around with one-on-one tutoring this year, paid for with $1.3 billion. The Detroit Public Schools Community District is receiving in federal COVID-19 relief aid. At last, Layla is reading above her grade level and on track to graduate on time, said her mother, Alicia Bullock. I'm so proud, Bullock said. The Detroit school system is putting much of its relief money toward tutoring, after-school programs, and other efforts to shore up student achievement. District leaders hope the money will not only help students catch up on what they missed for decades. In quotes, this is the first time I actually feel we have equitable funding. End quotes. Superintendent Nikolai Vitti said in an interview. In quotes, unfortunately, it had to come during a pandemic. End quotes. Next news. An elected official from New Mexico went on trial with a judge, not a jury, set to decide if he is guilty of charges that he illegally entered the U.S. Capitol grounds on the day a pro-Trump mob disrupted the certification of Joe Biden's presidential election victory. U.S. District Judge Trevor McFadden is scheduled to hear attorneys' closing arguments Tuesday for the case against Otero County Commissioner Coy Griffin, whose trial in Washington, D.C. is the second among the hundreds of people charged with federal crimes related to January 6th, 2021. The siege of that day. The judge heard testimony Monday from 3 government witnesses. Okay? Griffin's lawyer said he doesn't plan to call any defense witnesses. The case against Griffin is unlike most of the Capitol riot prosecutions. He's one of the few riot defendants who isn't accused of entering the Capitol or engaging in any violent or destructive behavior. He claims he has been selectively prosecuted for his political views. We're going to take a short break from the daily English global news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top stories. President Joe Biden will thank Poland's president for the country's efforts to shelter Ukrainian refugees as part of his trip this week to Europe as Russian forces bear down in a nearly month-old invasion. Poland is a crucial ally in the Ukraine crisis. It is hosting thousands of American troops and is taking in more people fleeing the war in Ukraine, more than 2 million, than any other nation in the midst of the largest European refugee crisis in decades. Biden will head to Warsaw for a bilateral meeting with President Andrzej Duda, scheduled for Saturday. Biden will discuss how the U.S., along with its allies and partners, is responding to the humanitarian and human rights crisis that Russia's unjustified and unprovoked war on Ukraine has created. It's possible, too, that the president will visit a refugee camp. Poland is, in quotes, an important partner as we work to remain unified in the weeks and months ahead, end quotes. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said Monday. Next news. Biden administration on Monday expanded existing U.S. travel bans against Chinese officials whom it accuses of repressing ethnic and religious minorities. The State Department said it is barring those targeted from traveling to the United States due to their involvement in crackdowns on freedom of speech and religion in China and abroad. The department did not identify which officials would be subject to the expanded ban, nor say how many would be affected. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said in a statement that the sanctions are being applied to Chinese officials who, in quotes, are believed to be responsible for or complicit in policies or actions aimed at repressing religious and spiritual practitioners, members of ethnic minority groups, dissidents, human rights defenders, journalists, labor organizers, civil society organizers, and peaceful protesters in China and beyond. End quotes. The move adds to visa restrictions originally imposed by the Trump administration over China's treatment of Uyghur Muslims in the western region of Xinjiang, as well as for the repression of pro-democracy activists in Hong Kong and advocates for freedoms in Tibet. In quotes. The United States rejects efforts by Chinese officials to harass, intimidate, surveil, and abduct members of ethnic and religious minority groups, including those who seek safety abroad, and U.S. citizens who speak out on behalf of these vulnerable populations, end quotes, Blinken said. In quotes, we are committed to defending human rights around the world and will continue to use all diplomatic and economic measures to promote accountability, end quotes. Next news. History was made the instant Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson appeared before the Senate Judiciary Committee, the first black woman nominated to the Supreme Court. President Joe Biden promised he would choose a black woman for the job, and the 51-year-old Harvard-trained Jackson emerged as an early favorite, having won support from the Senate several times before, including a year ago, to be an appellate court judge. Democrats have the potential votes in the 50-50 Senate to confirm Jackson to replace retiring Justice Stephen Breyer, even if all Republicans line up opposed. Some takeaways from Monday's session, the first day of Jackson's confirmation hearing. In quotes, today is a proud day for America, said Senator Dick Durbin, Democrat from Illinois, the committee chairman, as he opened the historic hearing. It's taken 233 years to arrive at this moment. The first black woman nominated to be justice on the Supreme Court, which once upheld racial segregation in America. Next news. A near physical altercation in the nasty Republican primary for U.S. Senate in Ohio led to a demand Monday from some military veterans that one candidate apologize for his seeming insult, while the target of their request said he respects and honors the military, but stands by his statement. The heated argument came during a debate Friday evening among 5 candidates running for the GOP nomination to replace the retiring Republican Senator Rob Portman. Democrats view the open seat as among their best chances to flip a seat nationally. The debate became intense almost as soon as it began, as former state treasurer Josh Mandel attacked investment banker Mike Gibbons' business dealings in his open remarks. Soon the two were standing face to face on the debate stage, shouting at each other as the moderator tried to keep their argument from further escalating. Mandel accused Gibbons of making millions off stock in a Chinese company, and Gibbons dismissively accused Mandel, who served in the U.S. Marines, of not understanding how investments work. In quotes, you've never been in the private sector in your entire life, end quotes, Gibbons charged. In quotes, you don't know squat, end quote. We're going to take a short break from the daily English news of Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Please stay with us. Thanks.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top stories. Thanks for being with us. Mud-stained wallets, bank cards, official identity cards, poignant reminders of 132 presumed lives lost were lined up by rescue workers scouring a remote Chinese mountainside Tuesday for the wreckage of a China Eastern flight that one day earlier inexplicably fell from the sky and burst into a huge fireball. No survivors have been found among the 100. So now it says 123 passengers and 9 crew members. Video clips posted by China's state media show small pieces of the Boeing 737-800 plane scattered over a wide forest area, some in green fields, others in burnt-out patches with raw earth exposed after fires burned in the trees. Each piece of debris has a number next to it, the larger ones marked off by police tape. As family members gathered at the destination and departure airports, what caused the plane to drop out of the sky shortly before it would have begun its descent to the southern China metropolis of Guangzhou remained a mystery. The search for the black boxes, which hold the flight data and cockpit voice recorders, would be difficult, the official Xinhua news agency said, and involve drones and manual searching. Next news. Yulia Bondaryeva spent 10 days in a basement as Russian planes flew over and bombs were falling on the Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. Having reached safety in Poland, Bondaryeva's only wish now is for her twin sister in the besieged city of Mariupol to get out too. They have been in the basement since February 24th. They have not been out at all, Bondaryeva said. They are running out of food and water. Bondaryeva, 24, managed to speak to her sister on the phone recently. The fear of what will happen to her in the encircled and bombed out city that is going through some of the worst fighting in the war has been overwhelming. In quotes. She does not know how to leave the city. In quotes. Bondaryeva said after arriving in the Polish border town of Medyka. Before the war, Mariupol had a population of about 430,000 people, and about a quarter got out shortly after Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th, 2022. Leaving the besieged city later became nearly impossible. Tens of thousands escaped over the past week by way of a humanitarian corridor, including 3,000 people on Monday. But other attempts have been thwarted by the fighting. Mariupol City Council has asserted that several thousand residents were taken into Russia against their will. Next news. Ukraine said it retook a strategically important suburb of Kiev early Tuesday as Russian forces squeezed other areas near the capital, and their attack on the embattled southern city of Mariupol raged unabated. Explosions and bursts of gunfire shook Kiev, and black smoke rose from a spot in the north. Intensified artillery fire could be heard from the northwest, where Russia had sought to encircle and capture several suburban areas of the capital, a crucial target. Residents sheltered at home or undergo under a 35-hour curfew imposed by authorities in the capital that runs to Wednesday morning. Russian forces also pressed their siege of Mariupol after the southern port city's defenders refused demands to surrender, with fleeing civilians describing relentless bombardments and corpses lying in the streets. But the Kremlin's ground offensive in other parts of the country advanced slowly or not at all, knocked back by lethal hit-and-run attacks by the Ukrainians. Early Tuesday, Ukrainian troops forced Russian forces out of the Kiev suburb of Makariv after a fierce battle. Ukraine's defense ministry said the regained territory allowed Ukrainian forces to retake control of a key highway and block Russian troops from surrounding Kiev from the northwest. Next news. Russian journalist Dmitry Muratov says he wants to auction off his 2021 Nobel Peace Prize medal to raise funds for Ukrainian refugees. Muratov called Tuesday in the independent Novaya Gazeta newspaper, which he edits, for people to, in quotes, share with refugees, the wounded, and children who need urgent treatment what is dear to you and has a value for others, end quotes. Muratov is asking auction houses about the possibility of organizing a sale. Muratov said last year he was giving away his share of the Nobel Prize money to causes including independent media, a Moscow hospice, and care for children with spinal problems. He said he wouldn't keep any for himself. Two Russian pranksters are claiming credit for tricking Britain's defense secretary into a hoax call with a man purporting to be Ukraine's prime minister. A video of the prank circulated on YouTube on Tuesday. It appeared after the UK accused Russian President Vladimir Putin's government of backing efforts to secure sensitive or embarrassing information through hoax calls. Defense Secretary Ben Wallace last week had a video call with someone he thought was Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal. Instead, he was speaking to Vovan and Lexus, in quotes, a pair of hoaxers who had previously targeted Britain's Prince Harry. We're going to take a short break from the daily English global news of Millennium News TV 24/7. Please stay with us.
Millennium TV, bridging communities worldwide. We broadcast diverse international content from Europe, Asia, Africa, and now right here in the USA. Watch us via Roku on your smart TV. Submit your own content to 1530entertainmentllc@gmail.com. Download the Millennium TV app from the App Store to stream our shows anywhere, anytime. Millennium TV.
Hello and welcome back to Millennium News TV 24/7 Global News Update. Here's the continuation of today's top headlines. Thanks for joining us. The theater was empty. The seats were covered against dust. But it was a moment of drama that Alla Skondina had prepared for all her life. In quotes, there is a saying that when the guns sound, the muses are silent. End quotes. The Ukrainian actress said, standing on the bare stage with a shawl wrapped around her to protect against the chill. End quotes. But we are not silent. End quotes. She has retreated from the spotlight and now makes dumplings to send to the soldiers, working alongside fellow artists in the Drohobych Repertory Theater's cafe. It's one small part of a massive war effort by defiant volunteers across the country who often find themselves playing unexpected roles. In the theater's warmly lit cafe, where snack bar popcorn has gone stale in the nearly month since Russia's invasion, artists in this community near the foot of the Carpathian Mountains in southwestern Ukraine were rolling and filling dough to add to the thousands of dumplings they've sent to the front or to the displaced people in need. In quotes, we did more than 3,000 pounds of meatballs, end quotes, said theater director Mykola Hnatenko, in quotes. 150 kilograms of stewed cabbage with meat, more than 10,000 erniki dumplings with potato, 70 kilograms of filling for borscht, 80 kilograms of fried fish, 2,000 pancakes with meat, and 500 sweet pancakes. Now we've decided to do more food with proteins like meat, end quotes. Next news. The heat on the train was thick as the anxiety. Ukrainian survivors of one of the most brutal sieges in modern history were in the final minutes of their ride to relative safety. Some carried only what they had at hand when they seized the chance to escape the port of Mariupol amid relentless Russian bombardment. Some fled so quickly that relatives who were still in the starving, freezing Ukrainian city on the Sea of Azov aren't aware that they have gone. In quotes. There is no city anymore, end quotes, Marina Gala said. She swept in the doorway of a crowded train compartment that was pulling into the western Ukrainian city of Lviv. The relief of being free from weeks of threats and deprivation, of seeing bodies in the streets and drinking melted snow because there was no water, was crushed by sadness as she thought of family members left behind. In quotes, I don't know anything about them, she said. My mother, grandmother, grandfather, and father. They don't even know that we have left. End quotes. Next news. 2 years into New York's bold quest to eliminate pretrial incarcerations for most crimes, state officials are considering abandoning some bail reforms and locking up more people upon arrest, amid public pressure to curb rising violence. But New York City's fiscal watchdog issued a report Tuesday refuting the claims of police leaders, unions, and some politicians that bail reform is driving crime higher. Those claims, made without evidence, have persisted since the measures took effect in January 2020. City Comptroller Brad Lander's report, based on data from the city and nonprofit New York City Criminal Justice Agency, found that number and percentage of people in the city rearrested while on pretrial release were lower 2 years post-reform than they were a year prior to the changes. At either time, only a fraction of rearrests were for violent felonies. Lander urged state lawmakers to think twice about adopting stricter measures, such as Governor Kathy Hochul's plan that would make more crimes eligible for detention and give judges broader latitude in setting bail. Next news. A drive to vaccinate more than 9 million children against polio has been launched this week in 4 countries in southern and eastern Africa after an outbreak was confirmed in Malawi. The urgent vaccination campaign has started in Malawi, where drops of the inoculation are being placed in the mouths of children across the country, including in the capital, Lilongwe, and the country's largest city, Blantyre. Blantyre. The vaccination campaign will be expanded on Thursday to include the neighboring countries of Mozambique, Tanzania, and Zambia, according to UNICEF, which is working with the governments and other partners. 3 more rounds of vaccinations will follow in the coming months, with a goal of reaching more than 20 million children. Quotes. This is the first case of wild polio detected in Africa for more than 5 years, and UNICEF is working closely with governments and partners to do everything possible to stop the virus in its tracks. End quotes, says Mohammed M. Fall, UNICEF Regional Director for Eastern and Southern Africa. This has been the daily global news update of Millennium News TV 24/7. Thank you so much for joining us. Please log in to get the latest news on all of our social networking sites. All of them. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. On TikTok, we are Millennium News 24. That's Millennium News 24. Also, our YouTube channel is News Channel M24. Viewers, now on both network broadcasting Android and iOS devices, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV. Also, all smart TV platforms. Please enjoy our entertainment, latest news, current events editorials on our Millennium TV apps, everything. Millennium TV USA Android, Millennium News Google. You can Google us. In your browser, you can put www.millenniumnews24.com. Look us up. Stay with Millennium News 24/7 as much as you can. Thank you so much for being with us, and have a pleasant tomorrow. Peace.